Greetings, wastelanders, and welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel to those of you who are just tuning in. In today's video, I am going to cover multiple methods to accumulate caps as quickly as possible. Please bear in mind that there is no get-rich-quick scheme in this game. It will take time to get off the ground at first, but like a locomotive, once you build momentum, it will continue to build, and it will be very easy to continue maintaining a high cap level. And with that said, let's jump into the video. There are numerous ways to gain caps in Fallout 76, but I will say, if you are not maxing out the 1,400 caps available from the NPC vendors every day, you are leaving 9,800 caps on the table every week. For those of you that do not know, all NPC vendors in Fallout 76 have a linked maximum cap rate, which is 1,400. So if you were to sell 500 to one and then go to a different one, it would be 1,400 minus the 500, meaning you can only do 1,400 caps of selling per day. So if you do the math, 1,400 caps per day times 7 equals 9,800 caps. Those are all free on the table caps that you can get very easily just by spending about an hour every day doing some events and selling a bunch of junk. It may seem impossible at first to be able to sell that much junk, but there are 3 events that I highly recommend you go to and pick up as many things as you can from the things that you kill. Moonshine Jamboree, Eviction Notice, and Radiation Rumble. And for those of you that think you are not strong enough or cannot deal enough damage to kill enough enemies to get the items that they drop, let me tell you, all you have to do is deal 1 point of damage to the enemies and let somebody else who is more powerful than you deal the damage. So the best thing that you can do is just spray as many enemies as you possibly can with a little bit of damage. Don't worry about killing them. You will still get all of the loot from the enemies as long as you dealt some damage to them. And if you are worried about higher levels getting upset by the fact that you can't deal any damage, please remove that concern from your mind. None of the higher levels are going to care that you cannot finish them off. In fact, I would even be so bold as to say that they're just going to be happy that you are joining in and playing the game. Most of the veteran Fallout community are ecstatic anytime they see a lower level jump into a higher level event. It just tickles them to death to be able to help out a lower level player in any way, form, or fashion. So please don't be shy and don't be afraid to join in on higher level events than you think you're capable of doing. Once you have maxed yourself out with a bunch of junk items that you're ready to sell, you will need to travel to the nearest NPC vendor to sell your items. In general, it is best to equip the perk Hard Bargain under Charisma and also take some Grape Mentats to boost your Charisma. This will give you the best possible trade-in value whenever you sell your items. If you are running a full set of unyielding armor with low health and your charisma is already very high, then you probably will not see much of a difference in terms of trade-in value. There is a law of diminishing returns with charisma. Once you have maxed out the vendor for the day, there are other means of accumulating caps as well. Completing any events will give you a small amount of caps every time. The absolute best event to complete is Test Your Metal. You can get up to 1,000 caps by finishing that event. Bottom line, complete as many events as time allows. Killing enemies as you travel around in the wasteland can also grant you a small amount of caps. Usually ghouls and super mutants have a few caps on them. In my opinion, the absolute best way to grow and maintain caps over time is to sell items yourself using your own vendor system. For those of you that do not know, once you establish a camp on the map, you can convert it into an open vendor for everyone to see so that they can buy items from you. If you decide to take this route, and I strongly suggest that you do, make sure that you have your public map icon selected to on. I will show you how to do that on the screen. If you do not have it selected to on, nobody will be able to see your camp on the map. And while we are discussing your map icon, I highly suggest that you pick a smart location when placing your camp. Places near Vault 76 or train stations, or even the White Spring Resort, are good locations since they are frequented by people very often. The more people that you have visit your camp, the more likely you are to make a sale. I personally have my camp just east of Vault 76 to catch any of the new players exiting the vault. Making sales is all about attracting multiple people to come look at your camp. So, the more items that you have available, the more likely someone will come look at it. So if you're able to sell apparel, weapons, ammo, plans, armor, meds, junk, and miscellaneous, you are much more likely to get a visitor than someone who only sells ammo. Another thing that you should keep in mind is the more often you are online, the more accessible your camp will be. So for those of you that can leave the game running and have it to where it doesn't time out, you are going to make significantly more sales than someone who can only be online for about an hour a day. Certain items in the game sell better than others. So to give you guys an idea as to what you should sell, I am going to show you what I sell in my vending machine. As you can see, I sell only fixers in terms of weapons. I will also sell bloodied or anti-armor weapons, but typically I stick with fixers because they seem to sell the most value. I also sell only unyielding armor. I don't really waste my time with anything else. I don't really sell food or drink or apparel. I feel like it's a waste of time. And I also do not really sell anything in terms of aid except for serums. You will have to build those up over time. They are very expensive. I did recently get the diffuser plan, so I have been trying to sell those, but I haven't really sold any so far. You definitely want to sell as many plans as you can. Those seem to be some of the hottest items. People always want to pick those up if they don't have them learned already. As you can see, I sell an insane amount. Anything that I already know, I'll throw in there for a relatively low cap price and see if it sells. If it doesn't sell, you can always adjust it up or down or just get rid of it altogether. I also sell a bunch of junk. Usually people that have Fallout First who have infinite storage space for their junk and ammo. If they're at max cap, which is 40,000 caps in case you didn't know, they will jump to random player vendors and they'll buy up all the junk that people are selling. I usually won't sell junk for anything more than between 2 and 5 caps a piece. And that's just the raw material. That's not the bulk. I usually don't sell bulk anything unless I'm selling it to an NPC vendor. So I really don't even worry about that. I just usually will sell roughly half of whatever I have on hand if I have more than 100. And then I'll just go from there. It might take a few days, but I can almost guarantee you that at some point, someone will come by and buy up every single bit of junk that I have. It has happened time and time again. I really don't sell any mods except for headlamps, which I don't have any of those at the moment. So I really don't worry too much about that. The other thing that I sell that I find to sell fairly well is ammo, with the exception of like explosives typically don't sell that well. I don't really sell too many missiles or 40 millimeter grenades. I've had more success with grenades than I have with missiles, but I put them at like 3 caps a piece. In general, when it comes to ammo, you want to put all your ammo for 1 cap a piece. Otherwise, they're just not going to sell. Almost all ammo sells, but the ones that are the least useful to people obviously won't sell as well, like the 10 millimeter, like any of your low caliber ones. I also don't sell like arrows or anything that's like that, like harpoons and whatnot. It doesn't really sell. I don't sell cannonballs either. So as you can see, that's pretty much what I stick with is the ones on the screen. And that's pretty much it in terms of what I sell at my vendor. There are definitely other things that sell at the vendors, but I have found in my experience with the game that these items have sold the best for me. So don't be afraid to try out other things. Worst case scenario, it doesn't sell, which isn't really a big deal. And if you are worried about pricing on weapons and armor, there is a website that I highly recommend called fed76.info. I will give you a quick demonstration of me looking up one of my fixer weapons to determine if it's worth anything. This isn't a perfect system, but it definitely will give you an idea as to what ballpark you should be in as far as selling weapons. It'll more or less guarantee you with a certain degree that you aren't getting ripped off or that you aren't overpricing your items. At the end of the day, it isn't about what price you set them at, it's what someone is willing to pay for them. So yes, you may have an item that's way overpriced, but if somebody buys it and finds value in it, then you're going to make the sale. Don't stress out too much about your pricing and just go with it, and you'll learn as you go. As I mentioned before, the most important thing is to be online a lot so that a lot of people can frequent your vending machine, which will mean you'll get more sales. So whatever you got to do to make sure your vending machine is open for others, that will be the most optimal way for you to get the most caps. And that is all of the tips I have for you guys as far as optimizing how many caps you can get and how quickly you can get them. I'd like to give a shout out to Dog Talk, who left a comment on one of my videos asking me to make a video covering how you can make caps in various ways. It is comments, suggestions, and criticisms, both positive and negative, from you guys that help me build this channel and what helps me to make each video better. So thank you to all of you who have been engaging with me over the last 2 weeks. I very much appreciate it. Once again, this video took me quite a bit of time to put together for you guys, so if you found it informative, useful, or even slightly entertaining, I would appreciate it if you could give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed, then that would be fantastic if you did, so that you can tune in every time that I release new content. Thanks again to all of you for the support. And if you have any suggestions for future videos, or if you would like to leave some comments for newer players so that they can learn, that would be amazing. And with that, I'll catch you in the next one.